Hi, I'm Dave from TRC. Welcome to our Heat Pump Boss series. Level up your heat pump installs. We've got the tools, tips, and how-tos that will help make you an expert heat pump installer. Today, we're going to focus on heat pump design for lower cost installs. Let's dive right in. Heat pumps can be a costly purchase. Now, project pricing will vary across contractors based on installer experience level, company size, pricing model, and equipment costs from suppliers. But with heat pumps, there are quite a few system design decisions that can impact the total project cost. With heat pump systems, there are more options for distribution, zoning, and locating them than there are with traditional fossil fuel heating. This is what we call modular design. Rather than just installing a central plant for heating distributed by ducts or hydronic pipes throughout the whole house, modular design lets you break up the house into parts and fulfill the heating and cooling needs by using multiple compressors in different locations, or using a few different types of distribution, ductless heads, compact ducts, or full ducts that cover just some of the house. There are also some options to supplement the heating in key locations to just cover the peak loads. These options allow for creative solutions that can be installed at lower cost to the customer. We'll go over a few examples in this video, but also note that your creativity in applying modular design choices for heat pumps is what makes these examples work. The first place we start is with system sizing. As shown on this chart, taken from project data in New York, larger heat pump systems simply cost more to install. There are two ways to bring down the system size. First is to bring down the heat load by air sealing and adding insulation. Basic weatherization services where the savings from needing a smaller heat pump system surpasses the cost for weatherization. This link to a fact sheet from cleanheatconnect.ny.gov goes into this trade-off further. Second is to follow best practices with load calculations and system sizing. Many HVAC professionals still use rule of thumbs to determine how big a heating system is needed, and many of those rules of thumbs are substantially too big for the actual calculated load of the home. This results in contractors speccing systems that are twice the capacity or more than the building actually needs. See our other videos on building takeoffs and manual J load calculations. Do that part right and the cost can come down quickly. Next up, skip rooms that don't need their own heads or registers. There are a lot of options to reduce heads or simplify duct runs. Rooms with less than 1000 BTUH at design conditions don't need a head at all, and if ducted, maybe only get a register if the duct run is simple and straightforward, especially rooms that are rarely occupied or have the door open most of the time. Rooms between 1000 and 3000 BTUH can often be skipped with minimal to no impact on comfort, or can be supported by a small backup electric resistance heater that's only used for extreme outdoor conditions. Another option, sprawling layouts with open floor plans can be served by one well-placed head, rather than a head in each subsection of the layout. Another, put a ceiling cassette at the top of the floor landing to spread heat across the top floor, rather than putting a head in each room. With all of these, the lower the load, the easier it is to trust the heat to spread through the house internally, rather than escaping out the walls and windows. Rooms with few windows, small stretches of external wall, large door undercuts, or door openings are all good candidates to be kept within reasonable comfort levels without their own dedicated indoor head or register. Our next creative option to bring down costs is to think through your zoning options. For example, rather than putting in the work to get a duct system to reach multiple floors, set it up with one duct run for each floor, each connected to its own outdoor compressor. Or, if the building has a master bedroom or wing that's rather isolated and difficult to get ducts or refrigerant lines to, set it up with its own system for that zone. Spend less effort and cost moving heat from one place to another, and use modular design principles. Also with zoning, low static pressure air handlers and ducts, sometimes called compact ducts or ducted mini-splits, can be used with certain layouts to connect 2 to 4 smaller rooms, rather than using ductless heads in each. If you have a good knee wall area, crawl space, or attic area to connect the rooms, the total project costs might be much lower. One of the biggest advantages of lower static air handlers and ductwork is their space efficiency. Both the air handler and the ductwork take up significantly less space compared to a full-size ducted system. This makes them ideal for building with limited space or simpler layouts, providing greater flexibility in installation locations. Additionally, low-static systems require less materials and labor for ductwork installation. The simpler design and reduced complexity translate to lower overall costs. We mentioned this earlier in passing, but another great way to keep heat pump installations cost-effective is by strategically using small room heaters in the right places. Small bedrooms and offices often have minimal heating or cooling needs, but when we try to serve those rooms with dedicated ductless heads, it can lead to added zones, extra line sets, condensate lines, and in some cases, the need for larger outdoor units. All of this adds cost and complexity to the project. By placing a small electric heater in those low-load rooms or office spaces, we can take those tiny spaces off the heat pump's workload. In bathrooms in particular, this can take the form of a heat lamp. A little bit of strategically placed electric heat that's intended to be used infrequently can keep the heat pump's system simpler. It also provides those closed-door rooms with a bit of additional heat on the coldest days, without oversizing the heat pump. It's important to be clear about this design choice. Small room heaters aren't a one-size-fits-all solution, and there's certainly not a reason to skip installing a heat pump head where one is genuinely needed. This approach works best for very small low-load rooms. Think small bedrooms or offices. It's not the right fit for every home or every room. Always consider the space, the load, the airflow, and the homeowner's comfort expectations when deciding if this is the right solution. Another infrequently used option is transfer fans. Transfer fans work by moving conditioned air from one room served by a heat pump to an adjacent room that doesn't have its own indoor unit. This approach allows the primary or source room to share its heating or cooling with a secondary room, eliminating the need for additional head or duct runs. By using transfer fans, it's possible to condition multiple small rooms with a single head. This reduces the need to oversize the unit by adding extra zones that aren't truly necessary. This can result in fewer head units, less electrical work, and less refrigerant piping. These savings can accelerate the installation timeline and reduce both materials and labor costs. Of course, wiring and installing transfer fans isn't free either, so you need to look at the comparative cost for the specific situation to see if there are cost savings available. And last, another great way to save costs when installing heat pumps is by being mindful of the refrigerant line lengths. This involves carefully planning where to run the lines and strategically placing the outdoor units. The goal is to find the best possible location for the outdoor units, somewhere that meets the manufacturer's clearance requirements, while also keeping the line lengths at a reasonable length. Something to keep in mind is, like the manufacturer's clearance requirements, some manufacturers also have minimum line length requirements, so it's important to consult the manufacturer's guidance when installing line sets and applying this cost-saving measure. It's important to remember that the home's framing can sometimes present challenges when running lines, which may increase the amount of material needed. Taking the time to map out the home and its framing in advance is critical. By identifying the ideal spots for your unit early on, you could minimize the amount of copper, line hide, refrigerant, and insulation required for the line set. In many cases, shorter line lengths not only save on materials, but also reduce installation time, making the process quicker and more efficient. This simple step can have a big impact on both the cost and the overall efficiency of the installation. Thanks for diving in with us on heat pump design for lower cost installs. Remember, we're here for you at cleanheatconnect.ny.gov with more videos, resources, guides, and best practices. Hope to see you in our other sessions as we can complete better installations together, one project at a time.